Hi everybody and welcome to Smack Talk. My name as always is Rich and we're doing something a little bit different this time around. We've got a Fans Roundtable discussion and basically what that means is everybody involved, there's 4 of us here, we've all brought our own topics to put on the table and discuss. So without further ado, let me introduce my guests. We have the Queen of NE, aka Queen from the Did You Write That Stuff Bro podcast. Hi Queen.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Yourself?
Oh, so good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem at all. And alongside you, we've got 8-Bit Ray from the Gorilla Brain podcast. How you going, buddy?
How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, all good, man. Nice to have you along.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here on Smack Talk UK.
Hey, no worries, my man. And finally, all the way from Oklahoma, it's Triple J, Jeff Johnston Jr, aka Captain Stone 3. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, hello.
Welcome aboard.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem. So to give you a bit of an overview of what's going to happen in this, I've randomly generated everyone's Twitter handles into the Wheel of Fortune, and each round I'll spin the wheel, and whoever's name comes up gets to bring their topic to the table. We'll all discuss it and elaborate if needed and go from there. So why don't we get started, ladies and gents? So here we go, spinning the wheel. It's exciting, isn't it?
It is.
Well, my name just came up, so that was, oh, goody. Wow. And to elaborate for the people watching and listening, none of us wanted to go first. So,
You could have asked.
You could have done, but where's the fun in asking? Let's just spin a wheel and see what happens, basically. And at least I don't have to go again, so that's good. So, right,
True.
First topic. Wrestle Kingdom or WrestleMania, and why?
Oh,
Who wants to answer that one first?
can I ask a contextual question?
You can.
Like in general, or like one versus the other? What do I like better, or?
Well, a bit of everything. So as a wrestling fan, what do you prefer watching and why? So like Wrestle Kingdom or WrestleMania, if you were going to attend a show or if you're going to watch it live or, you know, just in general, what would you prefer about one over the other?
Okay. I can go if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Jump on in.
Okay. All right. So in terms of production value, I feel like WrestleMania, there's not much else like it. When you look at a Wrestle Kingdom show and other New Japan shows, I feel like their production value, the in between the matches, they don't really have very much. They kind of just set the stage for the next match, and commentary does its thing. But in terms of production value, overall feel and excitement, I feel like WrestleMania is the place to do that at. But in terms of quality matches and the spectacle of the actual wrestling you're going to see, Wrestle Kingdom would be the place for that.
Yeah, so that's a fair assessment. I mean, obviously going over the production values, WrestleMania is pretty much second to none. It is the pinnacle of sports entertainment, wrestling, whatever you want to call it.
Unless you were sitting where I was sitting.
Okay, right. Do you want to give us a bit more insight into that one?
I'll give you a hell of a story. Okay, so
okay, here we go. This is what we want.
Yes.
So WrestleMania 29. At WrestleMania 28, they advertised, hey, text this number and you can win tickets to WrestleMania 29 next year. So I did every day for 2 weeks because you can only enter one time a day, and I did. And they called me. I won. They sent me up to New York and they put me up in a really nice hotel.
Mm-hmm.
But the seats were ass garbage. Okay?
Oh, no.
They were at the top of the stadium.
What?
Yeah, I did not feel like a winner that day.
Oh, wow.
So to answer the question, I want to go to Wrestle Kingdom. 1, I always wanted to go to Japan. 2, Wrestle Kingdom. Enough said.
Yep.
Okay.
You're right.
I can lend you a bit of insight into the Wrestle Kingdom thing because I went last year for Wrestle Kingdom 12 and I basically paid, what was it? In pounds, it was about £70. So what's that in dollars? About $100 for a ticket?
Yeah, about.
That was tier 1. So that's like, if you're in a stadium, you've got the ground level and then there's the first stand up, right?
Right.
We got the most incredible view and it was just amazing. And that show goes, I think it runs about 6 hours. So it's equivalent to WrestleMania in terms of duration. But
not anymore.
well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, if you got 20 million pre-shows and,
Oh, for God's sake.
all that stuff and all the promos in between. But the beauty of it was, like, we sat in our seats and did not move for 6 hours. Like, we didn't go for a pee break or any of that. And it was amazing. It did not feel like we were sat there 6 hours. The show just rolls, and it's just match after match after match. And it's great, and it's exciting, and, it just flowed. Whereas you sit watching WrestleMania and like, man, is this thing still going? Like, I don't know. For me, it just felt so much better watching. I mean, obviously, I was in the stadium watching it, in the Tokyo Dome. And this year, thankfully, I'm going to be at the MetLife for WrestleMania. And
that's where I was at the top of the stadium. I hope your seats are not where mine was. If you start seeing binocular rentals, start panicking.
Oh my God.
No, thankfully, we managed to get quite a bit lower in the stadium. So we're probably going to end up with a pillar, though.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm super jealous that you were at Wrestle Kingdom, not going to lie.
Yeah.
Honestly, total fluke. That was I basically looked online and just thought, I wonder how much the tickets are. And then they were like 70 quid. So I bought a ticket and found out after I bought it, it was non-refundable and non-exchangeable, and pretty much then had to go to Japan. Heartbreaking as that was, but yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
It sounds awful. Yeah.
Jeff, do you want to?
Yep. Well, I agree with William when it comes to like production value of, WrestleMania. There's really nothing like it, and you get the whole nostalgia thing usually because you got the Undertakers and the Batistas and everything coming in, and just the build to it. They put more into it, it seems at times, but like when it comes to the wrestling in general, like in the ring, like actually at the show, I don't really personally care about seeing all the promos and the buildup of what had happened in the past. That I'd like to see the matches and get to it. And I don't know, I feel they put too much time into these little video packages instead of the actual wrestling once you're at the pay-per-view.
So you kind of feel like there's too much fluff and not enough substance.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption as well. And again, a big difference between the two, between the WrestleManias and the Wrestle Kingdoms, is that at Wrestle Kingdom, there is really no fluff. Like, unless you're watching it on TV, they don't tend to play very many video packages, and there's definitely like no backstage stuff going on. It's all match finishes, they clean up, next match starts, and it just flows. So, I mean, you mentioned they're obviously Undertaker and Batista. How do you feel about Batista coming back for this year?
Oh, I fanboyed. I'm not gonna lie, I marked out.
I was until he did that cough, that ha.
What was that?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I think he should have came back as I just totally forgot his character's name in Guardians.
Oh, what?
Drax.
Drax the Destroyer. Yeah.
Yes, that'd have been good, seeing him come out there as Drax the Destroyer to take down the corruption of the authority and the corporation.
I think he would have to team up with New Day to come out to something cartoony like that.
Oh yeah.
I liked his gimmick when he was feuding with Cena and he did the kissing babies and hugging fat girls thing. I thought him as Hollywood Batista was amazing. I kind of hope we get that. But,
that was a good
one. I'm not really sure how I feel about his nose ring, but other than that, I'm really psyched that he's going to be back. I've been waiting for him versus Triple H. What's that?
Was his nose ring purple or green? I can't remember.
To be honest, I don't remember, but I just remember seeing that and going, why? What is happening here?
I mean, Batista does have a tramp stamp tattoo, so.
That is true. You are right.
If I had a body like Batista's, I'd have every tramp stamp
Well, I mean,
piercing.
the nose ring at like 50 years old, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So we're all positive about Batista being back then?
Yeah.
I am.
Oh, 100%.
I could see.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a blast from the past. I mean, so
Right.
Sure. Why not? I mean, I'm sure he can't go like he used to, but I mean, was his match quality ever superb unless Taker was carrying him? I don't think so. But it's good to see him. It's good to have him back.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we're all pretty positive about this. So and it only adds to the show. There's going to be the people who moan and say, "Oh, it's taking a spot away from younger talent." It's like, well, you need the experienced hands on hand to build the rest of the matches up as well. So, yeah, let's spin the wheel. And the winner is 8-Bit Ray. You're up, buddy.
Good. I had backups, but this one I think is going to come to the foreground. It's going to be who is going to defeat Pete Dunne for the UK title? And the other question would be, do you think that they're going to try to push it to Bruno Sammartino levels of, over 1,000 days? You know what I mean?
Ooh, man, that's a good pair of
question.
questions. Yeah. Who wants to field that first?
Oh, just so you know, my second question was, would you rather be punched by Mike Tyson or chopped by Walter? I'm going to choose death.
I've seen Walter in person. I'd take that chop over a Mike Tyson punch.
Me too.
I don't know. My stomach hurts just thinking about Walter. So can we move on? Let's go back to Pete Dunne. I'd rather have my fingers broken. There you go.
Okay, so Pete Dunne, who's going to defeat him for the UK title? And what was the other part to it? Are they going to go to Bruno Sammartino?
Yeah, do you think that he'll go to those, numbers, the Sammartino level?
Yeah, honestly, I'd love to see Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne go at it all the time. I know the whole fight forever chant's a little overdone, but that's kind of who I'd like to see take it from him. Just because I feel going
you don't
back
want
to Bate.
You don't want it to be Walter?
No, I'm a small guy as is, so I'm kind of like an underdog guy, and Walter's a big behemoth compared to him, so I always want to see the smaller guy kind of win.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Walter. It's got to be said. We saw him.
Who would you want to see? Who would you want to see take it off him then? If not Walter, then who? And not Bate.
So, obviously, British wrestling's like my home, and I go to a lot of Rev Pro shows and places like that. There's a guy who is absolutely lighting it up called El Fantasmo, and he is not a Brit, he's Canadian, but he is fantastic. And I honestly think he should be signed straight away he'll probably get signed to AEW, to be frank. But wherever he ends up, he's going to be a star. And I'd love to see him and Pete Dunne go at it. Failing that, if we're going purely on a British level, man.
It could be anybody. He does wrestle in NXT. He's appeared on Raw a couple times. So,
I'll tell you what would be cool, actually. Jodie Fleisch would be a really good one. A veteran of the British wrestling industry. One of the 4 pillars of British wrestling, according to Kevin Kelly. And if he was to come in on a special appearance and beat Pete Dunne, it would be insane. Like the British crowd would pop huge, and the Americans would be like, "Who the hell is that guy?" But it would be really fun. That's on a personal level for me, anyway. Or Andy Simmons because he's a mate. But Queen, do you want to jump in?
Man, I think they're trying to build us towards Walter taking the title off Pete Dunne. My issue with that is the NXT UK roster right now. Who's going to move into Pete's spot? Were that to happen? And is Pete going to stay there, or is he moving? If that's the case, I could honestly see them pushing it longer, that he's going to hold the title the longest. And then, I don't know, maybe have him vacate undefeated or, something like that. I can see it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I can see it as a possibility.
It's kind of weird with WWE. They've got all these possibilities for booking incredible angles and like really cool things that nobody else has done. They've got all the potential in the world to do it. And then they seem to go with the lowest common denominator thing, like the really obvious thing.
Right.
Or they'll throw you a swerve for the sake of a swerve. So like, as you said, they seem to be booking it towards Walter winning at TakeOver.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be so obvious. It would
be so obvious, which is why I'm thinking maybe they will swerve us and maybe they will keep it on him. And then he just holds it until he feels like he's done and just says, all right, see ya. And then he goes wherever he's going to go. As main roster or not. I hope actually not.
You don't want to see him on the main roster?
I do, because he's Pete Dunne and I want to watch him wrestle. I just am concerned about how that would work and where. he would go.
I don't think Vince gets British wrestling. I think that's why Triple H is kind of handling it right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, you look at 205 Live, and I've talked about this before, where they don't seem to care about it at all.
Right.
And that's I believe 205 is a
damn shame too.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a total shame that they don't. And that, I believe that is a Vince product, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think you're right on that.
It feels like one because it's shoved on after SmackDown and like kind of just the crowd's knackered and nobody gives a toss. Whereas NXT is purely Triple H's baby, along with like, you know, the guys he's brought in like Shawn and Matt Bloom and all those guys.
You know, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
The other thing I was going to say too is if they start treating NXT, both UK and regular, as not a third party and as a real legitimate brand to compete with Raw and SmackDown, and people start flowing, you know, from all three, then you could have something very interesting in terms of matches. I don't know that they're going to do that, but I think that would be a wise business move.
Well, they already started with that War of the Worlds tournament that they had. Yeah, so I mean...
But it wasn't with main roster, so I think if it was, that would be really cool.
I think if it was main roster guys in there, you would see a lot of burials. That's just, you know, unless you had like, I don't know, Tyler Breeze or something like that. I mean...
Well, they'd have to make it more legit in order for it to be, you know, your main roster guys. Because it was so great. Worlds Collide was awesome. And I think that was great that they combined all of that, and you got to see so many things that you wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, yes, Devlin was definitely the standout of that, by the way. Just saying.
Sorry, Jeff, I think you were going to raise a point?
Yeah, kind of touch on that same thing. I would honestly like to see the 205 Live guys kind of thrown in the mix for NXT a little more too. Like being able to compete for the UK Championship or the North American Championship and everything, because, I mean, it'd give them a little more face time, I guess, for the people that won't watch them on their own show because they've just heard all this stuff about 205 Live, but also, you know, it gives them the opportunity to work towards something else that, you know, because they have the one championship on the show, and that seems to be the main focus that anybody has anymore is who has what title, not, you know, what story they're in and, you know, what they're doing as a competitor, but if they're going to be in the title.
Right. Like Jordan Devlin and Travis Banks, their storyline is kind of, it's here today, gone tomorrow. Like it's swept under the rug. It comes back when it's needed. It's ridiculous to me. Like if you're gonna commit to a storyline, don't play patty cake with it. Do it.
Yeah, completely. It's indicative of the whole roster from top to bottom, like Raw right through to 205. Dean Ambrose is a prime example where he was an out-and-out heel, you know, disgusted with the fans and wearing a gas mask and like berating everybody, comes back randomly one day as a total face. And like nobody has a clue why.
I do.
Okay, hit me.
Because the Shield sells good merchandise. They sell it. And above all else, Vince sees dollar signs, okay? So when he sees the Shield, he sees money sign starting money sign HIELD.
Yeah, I didn't want to be as mercenary as that. I'm naive and innocent to the world of all this, and I just really wanted a good storyline out of that. But I just think the haphazard booking where they, you know, 1 minute it's one thing, and like you said with the storyline with Jordan Devlin, and it's just, oh, we'll pick that up now because we've got nothing else to do.
Right.
So picking back on that point about 205 and everything and how underutilized those talents are and how it would be amazing to see them mixed in, what about an NXT Cruiserweight Championship? So like remove 205 Live completely and split the rosters across the NXT brands.
Then you need a longer NXT show.
Yeah, I was going to say there's not enough TV time. I mean, you look at Raw and SmackDown. Raw's at 3 hours and they have an overcrammed roster. SmackDown is at 2 hours, overcrammed. I mean, unless they're going to start making people watch main event to see a Ricochet match, that's the only logic I can get out of it. They keep bringing people up with nothing to do, and then you're stuck like the Good Brothers, or you know what I mean? Just you're nowhere. Sanity came up. What a waste that is.
Oh yeah.
Sanity comes up, and now they're just live show guys. They're curtain jerkers. That's it.
Oh, it's awful. I know. It's awful.
That is a heartbreak, definitely. Oh, Eric Young deserves so much better than that, and Big Damo as well. He's a stalwart of the British scene, and all of those guys.
No doubt about it.
Because they had such a good show in NXT Takeover War Games.
Oh my God! What a great show! What a great show!
Mm-hmm.
They're so.
Was that the first?
talented.
The first one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would have been the first one.
Oh man. Oof, that we got heavy on that. That's
We
what a
did.
downer. My God. That's a good topic, man. Thanks for bringing that one. We have 2 names left on the wheel. It's a 50-50 shootout. Who's feeling lucky?
I think it's going to land on you again.
It can't. I'm off the wheel now.
I don't
It's
know.
down
Man. You rigged the wheel the first go around, so
I did not rig the wheel. There is no rigging of the wheel. It's totally random. It's down to Queen and Jeff. So, right, I'm going to spin this thing and see what comes up.
Okay.
Queen, you're up.
Cool. Well, speaking of sanity, guys, I want to talk about tag team wrestling.
Okay.
Can we please talk about it, please?
Yes.
Yes, guys, we can.
Yay!
Yay! So here's my question. Why does main roster WWE hate tag team wrestling? And why does NXT and other promotions get it so right?
Ooh, who wants to go first on that?
Vince hates tag team wrestling. He's openly said it. He does not like tag team wrestling because he doesn't like to have to pay an X amount of guys. So you have 4 guys in a tag match and you could just be paying 2 people. I mean, that's the old territory booking, but at the same, I think it kind of stuck with him. So I think he just hates tag team wrestling, period. Or just doesn't know what to do with it. I don't think Vince ever got it. He was good at bringing in tag teams, but booking them, not so much. I mean, we all saw LOD 2000. Come on now. Come on.
Ouch.
Yeah. Less said about that, the better. Jeff?
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's just the kind of the fact of to go back to the whole money thing with Vince, that it seems like sometimes he would rather put this person and this person together just to kind of build a bigger draw rather than giving the tag teams that we're all behind that opportunity. And
Have we lost Jeff? Come back, Jeff.
Hey, I'm here.
There he is. All right, cool.
Yeah. Apologize.
No, you're making a really good point.
205 Live is waiting on the other side of that light.
like I am a fan of what Rude and Gable can do in the ring, but in a way, was that really necessary to put them as a tag team, or should we have had somebody like Breezango that's had, all the success just maybe not success, but
it's success.
On screen, off screen, they're excellent at what they do. They're great workers. They put their time in, but then we're getting stuff thrown together just because he kind of has these people picked out that they're the stars. They have the look, they have everything. And which, if you look at professional wrestling today, there is no look. There is just
talent.
Yes, exactly. It's all it is. It's not about being the biggest, most jacked person out there. It's not.
No.
It's what you can do on the mic. It's what you can do in the ring. It's how you connect with the fans. And that's what should be important. But it seems to be put on the back burner sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely spot on, man. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I want to kind of elaborate on something you said about, just throwing 2 singles guys together. For me, that's the biggest issue with tag team wrestling in WWE, is that they'll have so many, and it's been said already, so many people on the roster, and it's like, well, what do we do with these people? We got nothing for them creatively on their own, so we'll just shove them in a tag team. And it's this kind of mentality of, well, that'll work, and it's down to the guys themselves to make it work. Look at New Day. You've got 3 super talented wrestlers. Big E had one of the greatest things going with that 5 count gimmick that he had in NXT. I loved that. He should have carried that on even in the New Day. That thing's brilliant. A guy that's that badass that he makes people stay down for a 5 count. He could have upped it to a 10 count, hell. And then Xavier Woods, you know, absolutely mega talented, fantastic wrestler as Consequences Creed in TNA. And again, massively overlooked. And Kofi Kingston, well, we know what's going on with him right now. And again, massively overlooked for 11 years, had one of the hottest feuds going with Randy Orton. You know, when he trashed his NASCAR and like they had that killer match in MSG.
What was that, 2009? Was that 2000?
Something like that, yeah. I think it was. It was something like that. He was.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Absolutely incredible match. And then nothing happened with it again, you know, that sort of thing. And so like, but you can go back to something like the Dusty Classic when that came in, and that was a tag team tournament, you know, and you've got all these tag teams in NXT that are vying for it, and it's won by two singles wrestlers who got shoved together.
Yep.
In fact, I believe the entire final of the first Dusty Classic was two teams of four singles wrestlers that were in two teams.
I think you're right about that.
Sometimes it can work, though. I mean, you look at Booker T and Goldust. That was money. That was so entertaining. I don't care what the in-ring work was. That was just hilarious. I loved every second of it.
I feel they try so hard to recreate that type of magic too, that, you know, sometimes they're just pushing and pushing to recreate that, and they kind of force it there when it's not really there. They're not letting it happen naturally. You know, it's just kind of push it to us and tell us, hey, this is what you like, this is what you're going to have, and deal with it.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, there's a lot to be said for a proper tag team as well. Like, there's a reason why the New Age Outlaws still get a pop when they come out, even though they haven't wrestled in God knows how long.
But again, those were two single wrestlers thrown together with nothing to do. Sometimes if you throw shit against the wall, it will stick.
Did I just shoot my own point? God damn it.
But it's
you have legitimate tag teams on the roster. You know, you got the Good Brothers, what, 6-time IWGP champions, tag team champions?
Yeah.
And they're doing nothing with them. You have Sanity doing nothing. You have so many tag teams, actual tag teams, not just Rude and Gable, just thrown together a tag team. I just don't understand. Like Aleister Black and Ricochet, why not just give them, single matches?
Yeah, see, that is a stupid team.
Which they did. But now Ricochet and Aleister are best buddies? I don't get it. I mean...
No, that makes no sense to me at all. I hate that with a passion. Like, you got two guys that are that talented that do not need to be tagging together, and they're just shoved in together. Nah, stupid. Unless there's a storyline coming out of this where they have some killer match, I don't see it.
Yeah, and I think
it's just an exposure thing. Sorry, Queen. It's just an exposure thing. That's all it is. It's like, okay, we got to get these guys on TV, throw them in a tag match, and then they get some camera time. That's all that is. I mean, I don't think they're a legitimate tag team, but I mean, look at even DIY, the great singles wrestlers thrown together to make DIY, but just giving them a name doesn't make them a team. You know what I mean? Like, they're still Ciampa and Gargano.
Yeah, but they did team a lot on the indies as well, though.
That's true.
So,
but I mean, they were never like a Road Warriors or a Demolition.
Oh yeah.
They didn't start as a tag team. I think that's my point.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I agree with all that. You think of like the Revival, like they're the tag team champions and they can't even get a televised entrance. Like that's one of my favorite entrances out there.
But you know what the problem with the Revival is, don't you? It's because of all the threats of them going to AEW, and that's literally why they've got a tag title run.
Yes.
Which is a travesty in itself, because they are eminently qualified to be champions leading a brand. But they're getting, like you said, they're getting jobber entrances and are getting nothing, but they got the strap. If I'm the Revival, this is something I was saying to one of my buddies off air. I was just saying, like, if I'm the Revival, and you got hashtag FTR in your trunks, right? And we all know what FTR stands for. It ain't Forever the Revival. That's for sure. They come out on air with the belts, chuck the belts down, and just grab a mic and just go, fuck the Revival, and just leave.
I'd love that.
That's what I want. Mania. Do it. I want it.
I want the Revival to go old school and bring those classic tag belts back. Those were my favorite belts. next to the WCW United States title, the tag team titles in WWE were my favorite. Not the copper pennies Spartan crap.
No.
I want those old school titles. I want the ones that the Road Warriors and Demolition and the Brain Busters and all of my favorite tag teams, Heart Foundation, they all wore it. I want that. They were beautiful titles. I really hope that the Revival live up to their, old school mentality and really bring those back. Dalton's teased it on Twitter, but I don't know if it's going to be legit or not, but I really hope that it will.
That would be so cool. Was it Cody that brought back the old style Intercontinental?
Yeah, that was Cody. And it's still got that white strap. Why?
You don't like the white?
Only the Warrior could pull it off in white and yellow and purple and all them other crazy colors that he had. But change the strap. It looked good in black. I don't get the whole white strap thing. Nobody wears white. Maybe Jay White, but that's it. But he's not Intercontinental Champion.
Seth Rollins wore white.
That is true.
And that was a bad choice for him.
Yeah. Oh, and what about that amazing Shawn Michaels entrance at WrestleMania against Taker when he descended from the heavens in white, in a white version of the Undertaker's garb?
That's right.
Yeah.
God.
There's something about a man descending down like a holy angel and then hitting the music. I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. And thrusting his hips and all.
Oh, that was amazing.
Very hypocritical about that, and I can't put my finger on it.
Do you know what? And I'm really glad you brought that up, because when I watched that live, and I'm sat there going, this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen, where he just descends down, there's all the holy light and everything else, and then that music hits, and all I could think of, it was like some rhinestone cowboy, low-budget stripper. It ruined the whole thing. They may as well have played Rick Rude's entrance theme for him, because it was just awful when it got to that point.
Oh, don't even get me started on Rick. Oh, I could talk for hours on Rick.
That's a whole other podcast then, I guess.
That's an entire series, The Love of Rude. I'm gonna reveal something to you guys that I've never told anybody, and only my wife has seen it. But when they inducted Rude, I think it was last year or the year before, I cried.
Really?
I cried for Rude, and I cried for Macho.
I think everyone cried for Macho.
Yeah, but Rude has a special place in my. I mean, that guy he wasn't just talent. He was pure character. He lived it, he breathed it. He really thought that he was that. And I think that's missing in wrestling today. I don't think people believe in their characters enough anymore.
It's a fair shout. I mean, they always say about kayfabe being dead, but I think it just smells funny. And I think realistically, like Velveteen Dream lives that gimmick.
Oh, yes, he does.
Right? He's kind of a new Rick Rude in a way.
Kind of. He's a good mix of a lot of different wrestlers, and I love Velveteen. And
I think Velveteen gets. Oh.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say that I think Velveteen really embodies the and nods to the old from the stuff that we like. But I mean, that man drips Velveteen Dream. He speaks in the third person. I feel like he does that all the time. Like off camera, he's just talking to himself. What does the Dream want to do today? And it's so authentically him that you have to love it, because he just doesn't give you another option.
The Rich has no memory of that. Does the Jeff want to come in on anything?
What'd you say?
I said, does the Jeff want to come in and elaborate on anything Velveteen Dream? We're all something now. You're the queen. We got the Jeff. Jump on him.
Seeing Velvet. I like Velveteen. I'm a big fan, and watching him on Tough Enough compared to like the character. I did not expect that out of him. Just kind of seeing what he was on Tough Enough and kind of switching that up.
I saw Velveteen. Velveteen wrestled for Maryland Championship Wrestling for a while, and I saw him. He was in a tag team. I can't remember who he was tagging with, but he was going by his real name, and then he just pops up in NXT, and he's the Velveteen Dream. And I'm like, I just saw you a couple months ago wrestling as, I forget your name. Sorry, Velveteen. And then here he is, and he's a completely different character now. And I love it. Yeah, like we said, he lives and breathes and dies the Velveteen Dream. I mean, if he wanted to, he could bottle up his sweat and sell it on the market.
I think he probably does.
Give Vince the idea. I'm pretty sure he'll sell it. But I mean, like we were talking about characters, no one believes in their characters anymore. The Rick Rudes and the Velveteens, they're them. But you got people like Ricochet, and I love Ricochet. His in-ring ability is superb beyond any other. Maybe not Will Ospreay, but he doesn't really have a character. You know, Aleister Black kind of has a character.
He does.
But
it needs to be developed more, in my opinion. I think that he needs to really dive into that stuff. I love when he just doesn't speak. That's the best for me. Yeah. He's really good at those poignant silences. And then when he does those flips into his Indian style squat on the mat, it's perfect. He just needs to develop the rest of it. So it's a more solid character, I think.
So, yeah, because he's kind of like, he's dark and mysterious and brooding. It's like, what? Why? Well, he just is, you know? I mean, obviously, he was Tommy End on the independent circuit in Europe and stuff like that. And
he wrestled as Tommy End one time when they did that UK special. He wrestled as Tommy End against Neville. And then after that, Aleister Black.
Yeah, that was so weird. And
I'd love a backstory.
Yeah, I think it needs it. Mm-hmm. And I think do you think it'd be good to have him be put over by Undertaker at Mania? Maybe like everyone's thinking, Undertaker's going to wrestle. And then he comes in, he's like, nah, this guy is. Or something like that.
I mean, he could, but that would require a serious push from management and a serious commitment to him. If Undertaker's going to put him over, then something has to be done. And I feel like they were going to do that with Bray, and it never really happened. And that really is disappointing.
That WrestleMania match was awful.
I know, so sad.
There's another person that lived character. If you met Bray Wyatt at like Walmart, where I am right now, if you saw him in a Walmart, you would really think he's Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
Other stores are available. We're not sponsored by Walmart. Sorry, just had to. Unless Walmart want to give me some of that money, because I could sure use it, but still. Yeah, Bray Wyatt, what a criminally underutilized. Although I say that, right? I've never known another wrestler, and you guys feel free to correct me on this, but I have never known another wrestler with more gimmick matches and more pushes to do nothing. Like, he barely won a pay-per-view match. He got the match with Taker. He got the, what was it, that stupid House of Horrors thing with Randy Orton. Mm-hmm. He got the, all the compound match and like, and even the thing with Matt Hardy, you know, the woken, broken token, whatever it was. And how can someone get so many matches and so many gimmick things and like...
How does Braun Strowman get so many matches and so many gimmick things to do nothing and lose all the time?
It's ridiculous.
Right, yeah, that monster should not lose to Baron Corbin. Like,
no one should lose to Baron Corbin like this. You want to bring me back Corbin from NXT? We'll talk. Until then, I'm done with Baron Corbin.
Buddy Baron Corbin? Yeah, we don't talk anymore. Before he got TV time, we used to talk on Twitter all the time. And then he got on TV, got a little popularity, and became a fucking asshole. So I'm not
a Ruth. Woo.
Wow. Yeah, drop mic. Here we go. So like, when was it literally as soon as he got on TV?
Yeah, pretty much. As soon as he had that squash match against, what was it? Oh, damn it. Juice Robinson. That was it.
Oh, yeah.
Juice.
Wow, good old Juice. I like Juice.
Me too.
Yeah. That was it. We didn't talk anymore after that.
No,
so maybe we can reunite you and Baron Corbin. Perhaps we'll get you both on the podcast and we can reunite you as, you know, and rekindle that friendship. What do you think?
Nah, no new friends. We were good.
I could put him on Front Street and tell you how insecure of a wrestler he is.
Wow.
Sure. This is smack talk, so go for it, buddy.
Yeah, Baron Corbin is a very insecure wrestler. He doesn't believe in anything he does. He doesn't believe that the machine would ever get behind him. And I mean, this is like, 4 or 5 years ago. But he was very insecure. And he would talk to me about these things. I'm just a random dude on Twitter that would just wanted to talk wrestling. And, so he would confess these things. And, it wasn't like, we were dating or anything. Shit. But, I mean, he liked to talk. And it was pretty depressing to read. And if I still had the screen caps, I'd give them to you.
Did you ever give him your card and send him down to Walmart and go shopping?
Yeah, come get the no doubt. But I I think he still might think that way because what have they ever done with him? They shaved his head. That's about
They
it.
finally let him do that.
Yeah, I know.
That took long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was shrewd on his part to start going bald like that and then force their hand. I think that was very clever.
My old buddy Baron Corbin. Yeah.
Damn, 8-Bit Ray. The truth coming out right now.
He pisses me.
Well, you hide it so well, but I mean,
have you ever listened to any of my episodes? I get fired up.
Oh man, I'm finding this out. I'm glad. This is the good stuff. This is where it's at. I mean, Jeff, how do you feel about Baron Corbin? Have you got any dealings with him, or do you hate his guts, or what?
I mean, when it comes to his work, he does what he's told, so he makes the WWE kind of move, But I mean, I'm not necessarily not a fan of him, and I think him and Balor, they did have some pretty good matches. But of course, I mean, Balor's going to have good matches with whoever he's in there with.
Was that 8-Bit Ray going, Balor had a good match? Like, just no credit to Baron Corbin whatsoever. Yeah. I have to play devil's advocate in this because I liked NXT Baron Corbin.
Me too.
Like, he was, again, that quiet, confident, badass kind of character, right? On screen.
I missed the lone wolf.
When he was squashing people.
Yeah.
That was the Baron Corbin I liked.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then once he started losing, it was just, that's about it. He was going to come in as the next big badass and just flopped. And then they brought him up to the main roster because he's a good little dog. Insecure little dog.
Wow.
Nuclear heat. Should we put you in a feud?
My God. I tell you what, that'd sell tickets.
Anybody else? No.
My point has just got incinerated by the heat that's coming from 8-Bit Ray. But like, I'm just kind of, my thing with Baron Corbin, and I think he's got a serious like gimmick thing going on there, and I think he could be a really good contender. The problem I've got with it, right, is this whole general manager thing lasted far too long.
Yes.
Plus, he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle. That's such a mouthful. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Jesus, can we change that as well, by the way?
Yes,
WWE's
add that
listening?
to the list.
Just call it the Andre Memorial. There you go. The what?
The Andre Rumble.
There you go. Yeah. The Giant Rumble. But seriously, he won that and they did nothing with it. And he's got all these different options where they could go, right, we can take the general manager thing away from you. You can be embittered towards the authority and turn face and basically do what everybody else is doing, which is that kind of anti-authority gimmick. Or they can take him down a totally different route and have him turn up on random shows, just smash the crap out of people, just because he's pissed off.
Is it too late for that?
No, I don't think it's too late.
Just a question. I'm just curious.
I think that Corbin can be saved. I think as a solo wrestler, it's not believable at all. But I think if you put him in a stable, kind of like an evolution where they had, the veteran and then the big guy and then the youngster, if they put him in some kind of stable and not like the Wyatt family or anything, but a legit stable, I think that it could save him. I think that he could eventually break out. But at this point, no. I mean, he's still wrestling in his damn shirt and tie. I mean, come on.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah. Well, I mean, Vince would also have to like factions again. That's the thing. That's the thing that we're missing that New Japan does so well. Their factions and, oh my God, the way that they set everything up, I wish WWE would take a little bit of that and incorporate it into their show.
Los Ingobernables.
Yeah, LIJ.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I would love to see something like that from like maybe the New Day or something. When you have these people that are best friends, they travel everywhere, they work together and everything else. But then once they get in that ring, they will tear each other apart.
Yep.
But then at the end of it, they're standing up and they're walking out back to their cars together, going back to the showers, whatever. And it's just for it being the reality era or whatever, they seem to try to still put too much into.
Is this the same era where they said that the listener or the viewers have the power, the people have the power? That lasted about a week.
Still waiting for my power. Still waiting for it.
Yeah.
I would be erasing so many things.
I think we need John Laurinaitis to come back and bring back people power.
No, please.
And then we can all have it.
John Laurinaitis.
No.
I'm for my ice cream bars, man. I want my ice cream bars back. I ate those things a lot as a kid.
Yeah, I think we all had those. When the hell were they? Punk, get on it, man. You've let us down. You've buggered off, and even UFC. Hell, UFC
let
makes
us down in so many ways.
Ice cream bars, right?
Yep.
Well, hey Colt Cabana, how you doing? So,
dying.
Cool. Well, that was actually about tag team wrestling, which
was supposed to be about tag team wrestling, yes. But I'm glad we're
I like tag team wrestling.
I love tag team wrestling.
This episode is going the way of how I watch YouTube. I'll watch one video and then go to the next and just start spiraling down the videos you might like.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I'm about to bring on the kittens. So we'll have some kittens in here and God knows what, people falling off crap. Man.
So we had one more topic. Who's spinning the wheel?
Yeah, who's doing it?
Well, but do we need to spin the wheel?
Yeah, go ahead and spin it.
Well, it's going to be you, Jeff.
What it will be.
Oh, I know. I just
do you just want me to? Oh, fine. I'll spin the wheel again. Hang on. Do you know what the stupid thing is? This bloody wheel now, right, has still got Queen on it as well. So you may end up getting because it wouldn't let me remove it and leave one person on the wheel.
That's so funny. I mean, I do have a second topic.
I told you.
It's not rigged. Stop burying my fucking podcast on the first go.
I would never Baron Corbin.
We can fall out very quickly, my friend.
Oh, dear. Now.
Right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, right? Just to prove that this isn't rigged, what I'm going to do is change Queen's name to the same one as Captain Stone 3. So now it's on there twice. So whatever happens, there. Right? Oh, gee, spin the wheel. Wonder where it's going to land. Oh, look, it's landed on Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Newsletter.
No one wants to hear from him. Please no. Sorry.
Oh, well, he was a bit heavier than when he started. So
I'm going to have to get off here then if...
No, he's gone. We don't need him around. Jeff, go for it, buddy. What's your topic?
So to go back on kind of the overcrowding of the rosters and things like that, and then, fans not necessarily being invested unless there's some piece of gold involved. Does the main roster have enough titles? And me personally, I've always been a big fan of two particular titles that they don't have, the television title and the European title. I mean, I think there's a lot of history between both titles, and I would honestly love to see those two come back just to maybe give the people they call mid-card, or I don't know, because I think mid-card has become more of a bad word in wrestling than it should be. I mean, you look at, Honky Tonk Man, for example, you see them, what they call the mid-card champions, and that they're not necessarily as celebrated. And then you have people like Seth Rollins that'll be the main champions, but then they're just trying to fill in that spot. So do you think there's enough titles is kind of what I'm asking. I got off on a little rant there.
I got to get on it because I think there are far too many titles. Far too many. You do not need the dual branded thing for one, but you don't need two sets of tag champs, two world champions or whatever it is, universal champions, IC, US, Cruiser. There's so many titles now. What you should have one world champion. Like, there should never be two, because that just devalues both. Like, what's bigger, the universe or the WWE? Well, according to Stephanie and Vince and everybody, nobody is bigger than WWE. And if that's your flagship title, then it should be your flagship title. But then what does that make the Universal title? Is that the secondary title? Well, traditionally, the Intercontinental title's been the secondary title, and that's the workhorse belt. So that means more than the Universal straight away. But then where does the US title fit in? Is that below the Universal, or is it above it, or below the Intercontinental? And you just end up in this mess, right, where it's lazy booking for one, because everyone's like, we don't know what to do. Have an open challenge. Okay. And then they just shove random matches together, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. You even get it in NXT. Like, Velveteen Dream is obsessed with the North American title. Now that adds value to that title, but why isn't he going for the NXT championship? Because that's the biggest title on that show. Everybody should be gunning for the big one, surely. You know, and you get people like you said, you mentioned Seth Rollins. Well, he's been like going for the big titles, then suddenly he became Intercontinental Champion, and that was the proudest thing he's ever done, and then drops that, and then he sort of floats in limbo, and it's just like, just focus. One champion at the top of the head, top of the tree, sorry. WWE Championship should encompass everything that anyone ever wants to win. IC and US can exist together because they're about the same kind of thing, although the Intercontinental is the one that everyone goes, well, that's the workhorse belt. Keep it as that. Make the US the equivalent of that and have that as a secondary workhorse. That's all you need. And obviously the women's title, women's tag now, and the men's tag, but you only need one of each. There's only one set of women's tag titles. They're not having dual-branded women's tag titles. To me, it just overclutters the booking and makes it lazy. But that's my opinion. Anyone else?
Very valid.
I think the U.S. title needs to get that American flag off of it.
Yeah?
The whole gimmick belt thing, get rid of it. Go back to the way it was in WCW. That was the best-looking title ever made.
Well, yeah. Unless you look at the New Japan US title, because that thing's gorgeous.
Oh, it is
yeah.
hot. Yes.
Yeah, it is.
So you reckon, obviously going back to Jeff's original question, then, do you think there's too many titles or not enough or what?
I think that if you're a champion in WWE, you need the dual brand. I think that if you win the tag team titles, there should be not two tag team champions. You need one definitive tag team champion, kind of like Bayley and Sasha are doing right now. And you're traveling in between brands because there's only one, right?
Yep.
Wouldn't that make a lot more sense? I mean, that would mix up the tag division. I'm tired of seeing the Bar and the Usos and the New Day. You like pretty much your only three tag team champions or tag teams. Mm-hmm. And I just want a little bit of a mixture. I don't want to have to wait, till the day after WrestleMania for another superstar shakeup. It's stupid.
I'd rather they just go fluidly through each. Yeah, I can understand that.
No, I get it. It's for the guys. They're not traveling, 5 days a week. You know what I mean? Right. They're working 3 or 4 days. It gives them time off. They're not putting as much damage on their body and all that. I get it. But at the same time, if you're a champion, isn't that kind of what you got to do?
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree exactly with what Bayley and Sasha are doing with the women's tag titles is going. They showed up on NXT this week.
Yeah.
Who does that? No other champ. I don't believe any other champion in WWE has done that.
Just them.
And
did KO?
That made me really happy.
Did KO take the U.S. title to NXT or no?
I don't believe so.
He brought the NXT title to main roster.
Yeah.
When he challenged and beat Cena, and then stamped on the US title and held aloft the NXT title, which was amazing, by the way.
Did Kid and Cesaro bring the titles down to NXT or?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't believe so, but I
don't
could be wrong.
If they never defended them.
Yeah.
I think this is going to probably be the first defense of a main roster title on NXT.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm not against it whatsoever. It's pretty awesome.
So,
I'm a little iffy on the women's division though right now. Like not the women's division, but the tag division. I mean, I don't really see a lot of legitimate tag teams. I mean, you don't really hear about women tag team wrestling that often. It's not new. It's not unheard of. But at this point, all we have, like we talked about earlier, is just single wrestlers thrown together. And that's all it is.
There aren't many legitimate actual tag teams that are wrestling. And not that I want them to be on it, but the Bella Twins were. I don't want them anywhere near it, but I just don't. Ugh. But
rack attack in the brain.
Yeah, oh please. I can't. But so about the belts. So I understand what you're saying because there's a lot of people that don't have anything to do. And that's one of my biggest problems with the way WWE books things. There are so many talented people that they have that are not being utilized in the right way, that should be let go to pursue other avenues, or they need to revamp and fix their booking. Now, that being said, what if we didn't see all these wrestlers every single week? like how NXT does. You don't see Velveteen every week. You don't see, certain women's wrestlers every week. So what if they changed the way they presented the product? We had new faces challenging for the title. If we consolidated those titles, would that make it any better?
So you're saying like mix up the challenges?
Right. So if we had, if you wanted to consolidate the belts because you think there are too many, then what if we just, some people would be on for a while and have a little run and then they off in place to keep things fresh? Because I know 8-Bit Ray was saying, like, I'm tired of seeing, the same people over and over, the Bar and the Usos, and over again repeated. What if we had more options and they transitioned that out? Would that make it different?
Well, Lucha Underground tried something like that with Dario Cueto was spinning the wheel, and each week he would spin the wheel and it'd land on a wrestler's name, and they'd challenge Matanza for the Lucha Underground title. And that was a really neat way of doing it. And I think if WWE employed a similar thing, where they just, had a random drawing of like, right, this week you're going to get a title shot. But that said, does it devalue the title?
Right. And I don't mean it quite like that. I just mean Omega Luke's podcast had a great conversation about wrestling seasons and, giving these people time off, because you're working a lot of these wrestlers into injuries. And what if you had that kind of rotating season in which, they were here and they were pushed for a while and they got some time off? Wouldn't that make you want to see them again? So you wouldn't get bored of seeing the same old, It's
interesting you say that, because years back when I used to play, like, I think it was one of the early SmackDown, it might have been one of the N64 games, like No Mercy or something like that. What we used to do was we'd make on spreadsheet a league table, like an NHL style league table. And we'd do it in that kind of way. We'd have the NHL style season where a win was worth like 10 points, kind of like the Bound for Glory series. And then at the end of that season, you'd have a playoff between X amount of wrestlers. And then the winner at the end was the champion. And then they'd be the champion going into the next season. And it would just, something like that would really change up wrestling.
Yeah,
and I don't know why it hasn't happened.
I think that would be a good thing.
Well, it would make wins and losses mean something.
Right.
But you could have the actual divisions based on the championship. So there could be like the, the World Title League, and then the Intercontinental League, and then the US League, and stuff like that. And it would open up a whole new avenue. But the only issue is you're going to need a show for each title then.
Yeah, see, it's the problem of timing, right? So how do we best do this? And I was thinking while you were talking, another thing that popped in my brain, what about tournaments? I love tournaments. I think tournaments are super fun.
That's why
Japan has that really right whenever they do those tournaments and stuff.
Right. That would be another way that we get those people who aren't being utilized and keep things fresh and new. And that maybe that's a solution to deal with timing, because that's sort of our problem, isn't it?
So the G1 obviously is a month-long tournament in New Japan. The winner of the G1 gets the title shot at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yep.
So you're looking at a month-long tournament, which then proves who is the best out of everybody in that, because it is grueling.
Yes, it is.
Then get all that build, plus you get all the title shots in between, where anything can happen.
Yep.
And people have challenged for the briefcase as well and won it. So there's all kinds of things that go on in that.
That's a great point.
Really, Money in the Bank should be equivalent to, the G1 win. Really, I still think Money in the Bank should be at WrestleMania as well.
Oh, that
I
would be cool.
agree. They should have never taken it.
And 8-Bit Ray touched upon it earlier, like gimmick titles and things like that. Gimmick pay-per-views need to die a death as well.
I like Elimination Chamber though.
I want over the edge. I don't want fast lane. Okay, I don't want great balls of fire. Okay,
oh my god,
the worst.
All the good ones.
Yeah, agree.
Like,
with that. I want Armageddon back.
Yeah.
Yes, Armageddon, Vengeance.
America. Sorry.
Yeah.
Great American Bash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Yes.
I'd like to see him with that, because it kind of makes it to where it don't feel as natural, when you're waiting for Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, what you're getting. Like it seems more natural that these two hate each other so much and nothing can contain them except the Hell in a Cell,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, you lose out like on these amazing promos where they go, "It'll be Armageddon for you this Sunday," and all this sort of stuff, you know? Okay, I'm on my own with that one, but still.
It's all right.
I liked it. Sorry, my delivery was garbage, but...
You're good, dude.
Well, anyway, let's round this bleeding stump off. And I always like to end my podcast on a positive. And what I want to do this time is, rather than giving shout outs to people that you guys know that don't normally get a shout out, because pretty much I imagine anyone you know doesn't normally get a shout out. So for this one, let's just do a little bonus topic. Which member of the WWE roster, because it is a deep roster, do you feel is super talented and doesn't get enough praise?
Brooklyn Brawler.
Okay, sweet. That's a good shout.
Zack Ryder.
Yeah, that's a good one. Very good shout.
That's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of iffy on that one. Tyler Breeze really is kind of, him and Dango, both of them. I mean, they've worked really hard. I mean, Breeze especially, but Fandango I apologize, beat Chris Jericho in his first match in WWE at WrestleMania. I mean, like just the whole gimmick of leading up to that, like refusing to wrestle because they couldn't say his name right and everything. It was just,
it was gold.
It was beautifully
Absolute
made.
gold.
And then what happened?
And then what? Right.
Yeah.
Can I change my answer? Bobby Roode. But here's the thing with Bobby Roode, I want heel Bobby Roode. I don't want this smiling, happy-faced guy. Okay, he's an asshole. Be an asshole.
Yeah, he was brilliant when he came in NXT and was a total douchebag to everybody.
I miss the dirty heels from him and Aries together. I miss them.
Oh,
I love a good nasty heel. I just do. They're great entertainment. That's why I like Ciampa so much. I love him. He can talk trash to me all day. I love it.
It's become that kind of podcast now. Okay,
okay, not that kind.
So we'll hand the Queen a towel, and I'm just going to throw in my pick. Sorry, I had to. It was the heel in me came out too quickly.
Yes, it did.
I'm going to throw my pick in, and I'm going to say Heath Slater.
Oh.
For reasons that are about to become apparent. Do you remember when Rusev was going on his tear through the roster, right?
Yeah.
And Heath Slater got sent out in, it was like some sort of rock and roll Uncle Sam kind of get up. And he marched to that ring, clutching a mic, cutting a promo on Rusev, got in the ring, and just with as much ferocity as he could muster, he just went, "Ring the bell, ding, ding, you son of a bitch," like that. And he just sounded like a badass and then got obliterated. But for that brief moment, you saw what he's capable of. And he is such a hard worker and like genuinely awesome dude on Twitter and everything. But that aside, like so underrated.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, same with Bobby Roode too. Like, I don't know, they just became catchphrases, and Bobby Roode just became an entrance song. And there's a lot more to them than that, you know, and it never shows because money talks.
Team heel Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hashtag it.
Bring Petey Williams in and team him back up. We need Team Canada back for a little bit.
Oh, that'd be cool. And then, we're getting back into the tag team.
Yeah, see, we can't get away from it, can we?
No. We get back there eventually. But
yes.
Right, well, that has been one heck of a roundtable, guys. Thank you so much for bringing your topics. Thank you to 8-Bit Ray, to Jeff Johnston Jr. all the way from Oklahoma, Triple J, and obviously the Queen of the North. Queen, thank you all for coming along.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been fun. Even going down the wormhole with tag team wrestling and ending up on the far other side, that was just odd. Thank you.
We managed. No worries. Hopefully, our session of therapy for you has been, beneficial.
Don't worry about it. I can get it at Walmart.
Just show it next time. Show us on the puppet where he touched you, and it'll be fine. So don't worry about it. Yeah, so it just remains to say thank you for listening. Obviously, check out our other content on YouTube. Do stop over to smacktalk.co.uk and pick up some merch, because everything you buy helps us bring you more unique and diverse content. Ring the bell for notifications when we upload. And once again, thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next one.